Thank you. My name is Mike Murphy and I'm the National Sales Manager for Monoxivent. The goal of today's presentation is to introduce to you all of the Monoxivent product offering. The idea is that once you become familiar with our product offering, as you work on designing projects or developing projects, we would like to make sure that you're aware of our product offering, and we would love to gain your business. So again, I thank you for your time. It's greatly appreciated. We'll go ahead and get started. The ideology behind everything that Monoxivent does is twofold. Number one, generally or specifically speaking, the most important aspect of source capture equipment is to capture the contaminant at its source before it can contaminate the breathing zone of the worker. And secondly, generally speaking, it's a less expensive way to eliminate the exhaust by capturing the contaminant right at its source and conveying it to the outside or to a scrubber or a dust collector, as opposed to doing complete room air exchanges. So that's kind of the idea behind everything that we do. Today, very briefly, we'll talk about vehicle exhaust hose reels, overhead systems, underfloor systems, and portable systems. Now, emergency vehicle exhaust removal systems, I still get asked about that regularly. We actually left that marketplace about 3 years ago, and the reason is this. It's a very mature market. There's not a lot of new opportunity within that market, yet there are still a lot of competitors. So with that being said, everybody's fighting over a very small pool of work. The profit margins are down. It takes a lot of resources to be able to do those projects correctly. So we decided 3 years ago that we're going to leave that marketplace and leave it for our competitors, and we're going to take those dollars and those resources and put them into product development, marketing, and places like that. And thus far, that's determined to be a very good decision on our part. And then we'll talk briefly about fume detection, welding source capture, dust collections, fan, hoses, and I'll finish up briefly on our FRP, or fiberglass reinforced plastic product offering. So a little bit of history. I'm a proud Detroit boy. Monoxivent was actually originated in Detroit in 1953 with some very simple projects. First of all, you see where you have a vehicle in a bay and you have a very simple hose with a tailpipe adapter, a door port, and you're just capturing the exhaust and conveying it to the outside of that door. And also an early product for us was our in-ground system, and we'll talk more about that as we go through the presentation. Still, there's so many more opportunities or ways to capture the exhaust, so this is an early system, not as popular today, but we still sell quite a few of them. Monoxivent was purchased by Crawford in the year 2000. There's many benefits for that purchase, but for us specifically, for Monoxivent, the specialty welded fabrication and the laser cutting are very important. It's one of the ways that we can kind of get a leg up on our competitors. Now, you will never hear anyone from Monoxivent negative sell. We don't think it's very professional, and it's not very productive. But there are things that we do differently, and in my opinion, we do better than some of our competitors. So I will take a minute to point some of those out. But specifically speaking on this slide where we say specialty welded fabrication and laser cutting, if there's an application where there's not an off-the-shelf solution for it, we won't try and pigeonhole you into an existing product. We can take a look at the application. We can design a product, fabricate it, put it out there for testing, and as long as it works, we can mass produce it. Some of our other competitors have that capacity, but it's not within the United States. It may be over in Sweden, which adds a lot of time and cost to their ability to do that. So that specifically, those fabrication and customization capabilities gives us a leg up on our competitors. Now this is just a brief synopsis of who we are and what we do. This is designed so that if an engineer or a mechanical contractor or even an end user hasn't heard of Monoxivent, this is designed to make them feel kind of warm and fuzzy. Again, we've been around since 1953. We've had record growth, so we're not going anywhere. But this just kind of describes the relationship. So again, we're owned by Crawford. We're Monoxivent. Within Monoxivent, we do our source capture systems, but also under Monoxivent, we do our FRP product offering, which consists of the underduct product and the corrosion composites. Now, these are some of the symptoms that can occur if your breathing zone is contaminated by the exhaust, and in particular, diesel exhaust. The particulate in diesel exhaust is a known carcinogen. It will cause cancer. So, some of the symptoms that can occur are irritation of eyes, nose, throat, All of that is what can happen if your breathing zone is exposed. But worse than that is it can lead to cancer. So we want to make sure that we capture the exhaust before it contaminates your breathing zone. One of the simple ways to do this is with a spring hose reel. Now, a spring hose reel acts almost like a window shade, where when you pull it down, when you stop pulling, it locks or latches in place. You attach it to the vehicle. When you're done, you pull it down again and it unlatches, and it will recoil up to a point where you place your hose stop. Now, the hose stop on a spring hose reel is designed to stop it from recoiling when the adapter is about 6 to 6.5 feet off the floor. And the reason for that is that it has to be reachable by an average sized man or woman. So most of the time we determine that to be 6 or 6.5 feet off the floor. I'm going to show you a video that kind of demonstrates a spring hose reel, a little bit different application than an under chassis tailpipe. In this particular video, it will show you how you can utilize a spring hose reel on a vertical stack.
Monoxivent creates innovative air cleaning systems for workspace environments. Monoxivent hose reels are the premier solution for vehicle exhaust fume extraction. Our spring hose reels offer a convenient and efficient method for extracting harmful emissions from all types of service areas or any indoor location where internal combustion engines are run. We offer motor-operated and manual spring retractable models that are delivered completely assembled and ready for installation. Spring hose reels can be connected with ductwork to a central exhaust system, or each reel may be equipped with a direct mount fan. Monoxivent spring hose reels are offered in 4, 5, 6, or 8-inch models. The two most popular hose types are the Monoxivent 4000 series, a high-temperature silicone product, and the 5000 series, a medium-temperature polyester product. A variety of hose and tailpipe adapter options are available. Product information and specifications are available on our website.
Okay, next we have our dual spring cassette. And the dual spring cassette is designed to bridge the gap between your standard spring cassette and your motorized hose reels. In most instances, when you get into larger diameter hose, some 8-inch applications, and certainly anything larger than that, you need to move to a motorized hose reel because it can handle more weight. Your hose is heavier, your tailpipe adapters will be heavier. So with that being said, it's also more expensive. Motorized hose reels are more expensive than spring hose reels. But what we have here is a dual spring cassette that helps bridge that gap from a spring hose reel to a motorized hose reel. And what that does is by adding a second cassette, a second spring cassette, it doesn't double the weight capacity, but increases the weight capacity enough where we can handle 44 feet of 8-inch diameter hose and a standard tailpipe adapter. And again, that will allow you to bridge that gap between spring hose reels and motorized hose reels. Next, we go into our motorized hose reels. We have several different versions. The ones you see on the screen, on the left is what we call our box motor or direct drive, and on the right is what we call our tube type motor. And if I were to open that side panel, you would see a chain and gears. The difference between the two is the specific one can handle more weight than the other. You'll never need to know that because we'll put you in one or the other based on the diameter of the hose, the length of the hose, and tailpipe selection. But I do like to point it out in case you're ever out in the field and you see one or the other, you'll understand the difference. Now I'm going to show you a motorized hose reel video. And this is kind of interesting because truthfully, in this video, we could have gotten away with a spring hose reel. It's a standard 6-inch diameter hose. It'd be perfect for a spring hose reel as far as the application goes. But in this instance, there's an overhead crane. And the overhead crane travels back and forth just underneath the hose reels. So if I had my spring hose reels there, and because I need enough hose hanging down for an average sized man or woman to be able to reach it, that hose would impede the travel of the crane. So in this particular scenario, we went to motorized hose reels to make sure that we could bring the hose up and out of the way of the travel of the crane.
Monoxivent creates innovative air cleaning systems for workspace environments. Monoxivent's hose reels are the premier solution for vehicle exhaust fume extraction. Our motorized hose reels can be found in military applications, aircraft ventilation, dyno labs, auto repair facilities, garage settings, high ceiling bay applications, facilities with overhead cranes, or any indoor location. Our motorized hose reels offer a convenient and efficient method for extracting harmful emissions from all types of service areas or any indoor location where internal combustion engines are run. We offer motor-operated and manual spring retractable models that are delivered completely assembled and ready for installation. Motorized hose reels can be connected with ductwork to a central exhaust system, or each reel may be equipped with a direct mount fan. Monoxivent motorized hose reels are offered in a variety of standard widths from 4 to 8 inches to an XL series of 8 to 18 inches. The most popular hose type is the Monoxivent 4000 series, a high-temperature silicone product. A variety of hose and tailpipe adapter options are available. Product information and specifications are available on our website.
Next is the Monoxivent XL hose reel, and these are just what they sound like. They're extra large hose reels. The largest that we've done up to this point can handle 65 feet of 18-inch diameter hose wrapped completely around it. And this is one of those products that really separates or differentiates us from our competitors. Now, we sell these for military applications where it could be for tank exhaust or large military vehicle exhaust. We sell them for dynamometers. We sell them for mining equipment, some large construction equipment. But again, this is one of those items that really separates Monoxivent from the rest of the pack. Again, the spring hose reel, in this particular picture it shows a spring hose reel. Doesn't matter if it's spring or motorized, but what I'm showing here is the direct mount fan. Now, we just recently did a project in Cleveland where they had a vocational school, a high school vocation school that was teaching the kids how to work on automobiles. And in particular, they had 18 bays, and each bay had a single reel, and each reel had a direct mount fan. But we also incorporated the DMS HR switch, which is direct mount switch to hose reel. And what that does is, as the children would pull the hose down to put it on the tailpipe, the fan would start automatically. And when they would allow the hose to recoil, the fan would turn off automatically. Now, you want to make sure the fan is on during those processes, so that kind of took the decision making away from the kids to make sure the system worked as needed. This is the exhaust design worksheet. This is a 2-page document that can be found on our website, and the idea behind it is that it asks the questions that we'll need the answers to help you design a system. So there's specific information that we need. Cubic inch of displacement or liter of the engine, RPM. That's going to tell us what size, what diameter hose we need, what type of fan we need, all of that information to help you design a system. So it saves a lot of phone calls back and forth. If you can fill it out completely and send it to us, this will give us the information that we'll need to help you design a system. All right, next we have an application photo. On the left is John Deere facility in Moline, Illinois, next to the Rock Island facility, or real close to it. And what's happening there is after the vehicles are assembled, they move it into a separate area and do hydraulic testing. So it looks to me like it's a 10-inch diameter hose with a tail cone adapter on a motorized hose reel. And then the picture on the right is a National Guard facility in Pennsylvania. And again, it's a motorized hose reel. Looks to be 10-inch diameter hose with a tail cone adapter. Next is our vehicle exhaust overhead system. Now, these systems work similarly to the hose reel in the sense that it captures 100% of what's conveyed to the tailpipe. Plus, we always try to bring in 20 to 25% of ambient air just to help cool the exhaust as it's going through the equipment. And it keeps everything up and off the floor. It's not as aesthetically pleasing as a hose reel because you can see the loops of hose, but it is less expensive. So it really just depends on what your end user wants and what his budget will allow for. And then on the right is what we call our RTS, or retractable telescoping system. And this system is the least expensive system on the market. It's about $400 list price. So what you have is below the duct. You have everything that you see below the ductwork, and it's 3 sections. Your bottom section is 3-inch diameter. That fits into your 4-inch diameter section, or second section, and then both fit into your 5-inch diameter section, or third section. And if you see the picture all the way on the right, they all fit inside each other, and then there's a chain with an S-hook on the adapter, and there's an eyelet on that silver collar. And you put the S-hook in the eyelet, and it holds everything off the floor. And when you want to use it, you just unhook it, and everything will come down, and you can attach it to the vehicle. So it's a great system, But there are some caveats to that, and that is this. Because the lowest section is only 3-inch, we're really limited to about 150 to maybe 175 CFM. And in that case, we're going to be limited to automobiles in a tune-up or idling type application. If you get anything larger than that, you're going to overwhelm the system and have leakage, which kind of defeats the purpose of having a system like this. But for the right application, it's a very inexpensive way to make sure we're capturing the exhaust. Now I'm going to show you a video that'll show you all about the overhead system.
Monoxivent creates innovative air cleaning systems for workspace environments. Monoxivent's conventional overhead systems offer a user-friendly and cost-effective solution to the problem of breathing contaminants in the workplace. Our systems can be found in auto dealerships, motorcycle shops, light or heavy-duty equipment repair facilities, garage settings, railroad, bus transit, and manufacturing facilities. Overhead systems incorporate many hose types and lifting configurations, including boom, duct, and pivoting crane mounts. The hose types range from high-temperature silicone to medium-temperature polyester. Lifting configurations include ropes, pulleys, and cable balancers. Retractable telescoping system and swivel booms offer alternatives for overhead exhaust extraction. Complete your package by adding a direct mount fan for a standalone system or connect to ductwork and a central fan. A variety of hose and tailpipe adapter options are available. For more information on specific products and models, visit the product section of our website.
Okay, here we have the Monoxivent boom arm or the Monoxivent pack arm. The picture on the left is the Monoxivent swivel boom, and it allows us to put something at the end of the boom and reach into an area that maybe doesn't have a wall or a column to attach to. So it extends the reach of our standard product offering. Now the pack arm does the same thing, but it's a little bit different in the sense that it has a shoulder joint, but it also has an elbow joint. So you see where that second set of flex hose is, that allows us to not only cover the outside parameter, but also cover inside as well. So both systems are designed to help us extend the reach of our standard product offering. And like you see here, it could be an overhead system, it could be a hose reel, and as you see as we go through, it could be welding arms or hoods, but again, just a way to help get into areas where maybe we're not able to reach normally. Now standard sizes for the boom is up to 13 foot, and for the pack is up to 20 foot. On this particular slide, we're showing a custom pack. So if I were to lay this straight out, it's 32 foot long. To give you some scale, the wall bracket itself is 6 foot long. It has a shoulder joint, and then it has 2 elbow joints. And then also notice the outrigging there. And that is there to make it rigid, because if you have something that long and you put something at the end of it, it can become unsteady. So that outrigging is designed to make it rigid. Now this particular application is in Denver, Colorado, where they have a bay, a maintenance bay, that they bring in their snow removal equipment. And they have a lot of equipment, but it's not all by the same manufacturer. In this particular application, it happens to be all vertical stack. So they bring the vehicle in and they can position that source capture system over any location where the vertical stack is on that specific truck. So that was it's a custom design that we did for them. They liked it so much they originally bought 4 and subsequently bought an additional 4, and then Caterpillar actually purchased 6 of these from us. So that's why we're always happy to do custom jobs, custom design and fabrication, because it helps us with that particular application, but gives us another tool in our arsenal to help for future applications. And then the picture on the right is just showing a pack arm with an overhead drop attached to, looks like some type of agricultural vehicle. Here we have the Monoxivent portable vehicle exhaust removal system. It's called the Eliminator. It's a very simple design. If you look at the picture on the left, you'll see it comes on a steel frame with 4 casters. The gray box is the fan. The hose coming out of the fan is the collection hose. And then you can see that that's set up for vertical stack. But if you look at the picture on the right, you can actually do a quick disconnect there and set it up for mid-chassis tailpipe or below chassis tailpipe. Also notice then on the other end you have your hose reel, and then attached to that hose reel is your discharge hose. So you can configure it on the hose reel, which is very nice and user friendly, but if your end user budget doesn't allow, you can get rid of the hose reel and just use a hose storage rack, and that'll save you several dollars pardon me, and allow you to capture the exhaust, you can take your discharge hose and run it out a man door or an overhead door, or you could strategically locate door ports and wall ports throughout your facility and just run the exhaust out that way. Next, we have our in-ground system. The in-ground system is one of the items that we talked about early on, where it was one of the original Monoxivent offerings, but still very popular today because basically it allows you to hide everything in the ground and then open a door and pull out the hose and attach it to the vehicle. So you can kind of get a feel for how it looks there, and actually this picture does an even better job, where when it's not being utilized, it's a nice, safe, clean work environment. But when you want to use it, you just open that door, the hose is stored inside, you pull the hose out and attach it to the vehicle. So there's a lot of benefits to an in-ground system. Now there are some negatives as well, because when you do an in-ground system, your duct work is all below ground, so it's in the earth. And the earth can be very corrosive on standard duct work. So what we've designed is what we call our underduct VE, and it's a fiberglass reinforced plastic resin-based product that is not affected by the corrosive nature of the earth. So you'll have a much longer life expectancy. It will not corrode. The problem with the standard ductwork is that eventually it will corrode and it can collapse. And if it collapses, it can then impede the airflow, and your system can end up being useless. And in order to replace it, you'd have to pull up all the concrete and dirt and then replace the ductwork. So we highly recommend that if you're designing an in-ground system, that you consider the VE Underduct FRP ductwork. It's a great asset to this type of a product offering. Next is our Norfy line. And our Norfy line is designed so that it's a rail-based system. You can put several drops on one system. And as we go through it, I'll give you an example. So specifically, there's three types of the rail. There's the Techno rail, which is the one on the left, and then the ALU 150, which is the one just to the right of the Techno rail, and then the ALU 250. And they're bigger diameters based on the air volume needed. So many of the applications that we're talking about today, you could use your Techno rail on. And with the Techno rail, and any of the rail, you could do a welding arm, or you could do a hose reel, or you can do an overhead drop on. And then if we go back to the original picture, and I'm going to give you kind of a basis of design. So let's say we're looking at an 8-bay car dealership. My first question, if I'm designing the system, is I'm going to ask my customer, what's the worst case scenario? How many cars will be running at the same time? And if it's an 8-bay system, it's never 100%. Normally it's maybe 3, maybe 4 vehicles running at the same time. So my next question to him would be, do you want to just designate 3 bays where you're going to put a running vehicle, and that's where we'll put the equipment? And he'll always say, no, I have 8 bays. I want to be able to use any of the 8 whenever I want to. So theoretically, I should put 8 drops in, 1 drop per bay. But perhaps I could save him some costs and put a drop in between bays. So I drop from 8 to 4, but the design flexibility is gone because he could never run an engine in bays 8 and 7 at the same time because there's only 1 drop in between the two. So with a rail system, I can run a rail from bay 1 to bay 8. I can put 3 trolleys or 3 drops in the rail system, and I can move these up and down all day long. So we know, based on his information, that he never runs more than 3 engines at the same time. He could run them in 8, 7, and 6, or he could run them in 8, 5, 1. It helps us minimize the number of drops that he needs, yet maximize the flexibility for his operation. Now the ductwork, or the rail, actually acts as ductwork. As we pick up the exhaust, the lips keep the exhaust into the rail system, and the rail is under negative pressure, and then there's pickup points where then we capture the exhaust from the rail, send it to the standard ductwork, and then eliminate it to the outside. Now another Norfy product offering that we have are the high-end tailpipe adapters. And this isn't for everyday mom and pop shops per se, but there are entities that insist on this type of a quality and are willing to pay a little bit more money for a higher quality product. And that could be BMW dealerships or Maserati or some of the higher end manufacturers that insist on this type of a product. This would be our standard product offering. This is what you see on 90–95% of the jobs out there. So we have tailpipe adapters for vertical stack. We have tailpipe adapters for below chassis. We have rubber or steel or stainless steel. We have chains with an S-hook or vice grips or spring clamps. We have Y connectors. The bottom line is whatever configuration the manufacturers have made in the past and come out with now and will be planning in the future, we have the solution for currently, or the ability to fabricate a solution for it as they come to the marketplace. Here's some simple sizing guidelines. Most important information on this page is where it says normal tune-up or idling applications. So again, for normal tune-up and idling applications, which is going to be about 95% of all applications that we do, for cars and light trucks, we're going to be 4-inch diameter hose, 300 CFM. Medium trucks and light buses, 5-inch diameter hose, 450 CFM. Dump trucks, large buses, agricultural equipment, industrial equipment, again in normal tune-up or idling applications, 6-inch diameter hose, 600 CFM. And the conveying velocity is recommended to be 2,500 feet per minute from the Industrial Ventilation Guidebook, and that's what it takes to capture this particulate, keep it in the airstream, and convey it to the end point, whether it's outside or to a dust collector or a scrubber or whatever. We want to make sure that that particulate stays in the airstream, and that's the velocity that's going to be needed to be able to do that. Now, recommended hose types, the most popular are our 5000 series and 4000 series. The 5000 series hose can handle 350 degrees continuous and up to 550 degrees intermittent. So that's perfect for cars and light trucks and tune-up applications. The 4000 series hose can handle up to 600 degrees continuous and 1250 degrees intermittent. I always like to point out here that it's very important that as you're putting your specifications out there, if you want 600 degrees continuous, make sure you add the word continuous, because what happens is Monoxivent will read that, we'll assume that you meant continuous, and that's what we'll quote. But some of our competition will play a little bit of a game here, and they'll say, well, it says 600 degrees, but it doesn't say continuous, so I can quote a lesser costing hose that's lower temperature rated and still meet the criteria. Because it doesn't say continuous, they'll have a price advantage, and they may win the bid if it's strictly on price, but the customer suffers in the long run because the hose isn't designed to handle the temperature that it's going to see regularly. So just by adding continuous into your specification will help you get what your customer needs. And then fume detection systems, we don't manufacture these. These are Honeywell systems. We add them to our product offering so that you can kind of do one-stop shopping and, more importantly, one point of responsibility. If we include them in our system and we package them all together, we're responsible to make sure that they work. Okay, next is our welding arms. Now the first picture you see here is our internally supported welding arm. This comes in 6-inch or 8-inch diameter. It comes in 7, 10, or 14-foot lengths. It comes standard with a polycarbonate hood with a handle and a damper. You could do a direct mount fan, or you can tie it into a central fan system. The internal support is inside the hose environment. So if someone says we need an internally supported welding arm, all that means is that the internal support structure is within the hose environment. Now on any of our arms, you can add a light kit and you can add a fan on and off kit, so that basically the welder positions the arm to where he wants it. He can turn his fan on, turn his light on, and he has both hands available to do his welding. Another very popular system for us is our telescopic welding arm. And this particular welding arm is very nice for booths. So whether it's a vocational school or apprenticeship training center, they have booths set up, and the booths tend to be undersized or small. So you can't take up a lot of room. So in this particular application, the telescoping welding arm in its collapsed state is 4 foot long and completely positionable, or you can extend it out to 7 foot in length, and again, completely positionable. You can get this in 4-inch, 6-inch, or 8-inch diameter. This comes, again, as a collapsed system, 4 foot out to 7 foot. You can do a direct mount fan, but mostly when you're working on an application with these, there's going to be several of them, so you would normally tie this into a central fan. This is I'm going to show you a welding video. Take a look at the welding video. You'll see the telescopic arms working, but also take a look in the video. You'll see a pack arm with a welding arm on it, and note the reach that these people are able to get within their workshop.
Monoxivent creates innovative air cleaning systems for workspace environments. Monoxivent's self-supporting arms allow for longer reach and an extended range of motion. These arms can be found in welding, maintenance and machine shops, trade schools, training and union halls, and lab and industrial environments. The arms provide safe and versatile solutions to eliminate welding smoke, dust and other hazardous airborne particulate before entering the breathing zone. They are available in 7, 10, and 14-foot lengths and 6 or 8-inch diameters. They are easily articulated and come with adjustable friction joints. Monoxivent offers both internally and externally supported arms, including pivoting articulating cranes and booms. Mini arms are available for laboratory and corrosive applications. For more information on specific products and models, visit the product section of our website.
Okay, here we have our tube type welding arm. Notice that the structure is now on the outside, so this is what we call an externally supported arm. The support structure is on the outside of the hose environment. This particular arm we can get in 4-inch, 5-inch, 6-inch, or 8-inch. We can get it in 7, 10, or 13-foot lengths. Again, we can put the light kit, we can put the fan on off kit. There are different welding hoods available. We could do a direct mount fan, or we can tie it into a central fan. And this is another externally supported welding arm. And this is probably the most versatile arm that we offer. And by that I mean it comes standard in 6-inch or 8-inch diameter hose, 7, 10, and 14-foot lengths. But we can shorten this down. One of our competitors offer a 3-foot arm. We can make this 3-foot or 4-foot or 7-foot or 8-foot. It has a lot of customization capabilities. So it's an externally supported arm. All the other arm criteria fits here. It can be different hoods, you can have dampers and handles, you can do a direct mount fan, or you can tie it into a central fan, and you can do the light kit or the fan on off switch as well. Now this is just a picture demonstrating the welding arms on the pack or the boom. And like you just saw in the video for the welding arms, the pack in particular really extends the reach of a standard arm. So whether it's 7, 10, or 14 foot, you add 14 foot with a 20-foot pack, and you can really reach into an area where perhaps you couldn't reach before. Some sizing guidelines for the welding and fume applications. For standard welding, 6-inch diameter arms, 600 to 700 CFM. For larger volume welding, and when I think of this, I'm asked regularly what would make you go to an 8-inch. One area where that may be is you're welding on some pre-lubed material that is really lubed up or oily, and as you begin to weld it really creates a lot of smoke. So in that case you may want to consider an 8-inch diameter arm, and they're going to be at 1,000 to 1,200 CFM per arm. And then the conveying velocity, the exhaust coming out of the welding arm is very similar to the vehicle exhaust in the sense that it's about 2,500 feet per minute conveying velocity, and that's what's needed to capture and take that contaminant and keep it in the airstream until you've either sent it to the outside or to a dust collector, wherever that end point is. Now we have our mini arms. Our mini arms are from 1-inch to 4-inch. They can be ceiling mounted, wall mounted, or desktop mounted. They can have different hood configurations, and they can have different material depending on the application. So as an example, we just did a big job in Michigan where they needed arms for soldering. They were soldering sophisticated circuit boards, but they needed these arms to prevent static electricity discharge, because that would negatively impact the circuits on the circuit boards that they were welding or soldering on. So in that particular case, they used a black carbon type material for the body of the arms that prevented the buildup and thus discharge of static electricity. So again, 1 to 4 inches, ceiling mount, wall mount, desktop mount. You see a lot of these in police labs, pharmacy labs, hospital labs, places like that, biology labs maybe in high schools, places like that. We also have a system that we call the LFK, or local filter kit, where you can take the arms and you can put them in an area where maybe you have a soldering bench, and it can come with its own little portable cartridge system with an adjustable speed fan, so that you can tuck that right underneath the bench, and you can have it with 1 arm or 2 arms and have a completely independent system be able to capture the exhaust. Next we have our dust collectors. Now we'll manufacture custom dust collectors ourselves here in Rock Island, but normally we use either Donaldson Torrent or Imperial Systems out of Pennsylvania. This is the video for the dust collection system. It's kind of giving you an idea of the capacity, capabilities, and how easy it is to change out filters on these types of systems.
Monoxivent creates innovative air cleaning systems for workspace environments. Monoxivent's MNX series cartridge collectors can be found nationwide in metalworking, welding, pharmaceutical, food processing, trade schools, and other applications where fine dust and particulate can be found. The MNX collector offers a 4 to 24 cartridge capacity. The collectors feature pulse cleaning technology to easily pulse off the dust from the surface of the filter. This improves filtration efficiency and prolongs filter life, saving you time and money. The advantage is clear in the collector's design and components. Key features of this series include ledgeless construction, eliminating dust buildup, compact design, utilizing minimal floor space, high-efficiency filter media and patented cleaning technology, powerful performance, providing 30% more cleaning energy, cost savings from fewer filter changeouts and less energy consumption, meets or exceeds OSHA, EPA, and other state regulations, strong reliability, easy system setup and maintenance, and indoor or outdoor use. For more information on specific products and models, visit the product section of our website.
Next, we have our cyclone collectors. And again, we can manufacture custom cyclones, but normally we get them from Agate out of Michigan. And this particular application photo that you see here was at a college on the East Coast where the maintenance guys would take the doors off of the dorms and at the end of the school year and plane them, sand them, get them ready for the next school system or startup of the next school season. So in this particular application, you can see you have a cyclone collector, and that is designed to take the largest particulate out of the airstream and send it down into the hopper. Notice you have an airlock there too, so as the system starts, that airlock keeps everything down that's in the hopper currently, keeps it down in the hopper. And then it'll allow the particulate that comes from the cyclone down into the hopper as well. And what that does then is as you follow the airstream down, it gets into the media area where that media is now going to see much smaller particulate, have a much longer life expectancy, much easier to clean. And then beyond that, in this particular application, that air is treated, so it's heated in the wintertime, cooled in the summertime. As it's collected, it gets cleaned out, and then it is sent back into the building, so you don't lose that energy. This is an application data sheet similar to what I showed you for vehicle exhaust. The bottom line, this is designed for dust collection, but the bottom line is we need to know what the dust is that we're collecting, what is the volume of dust that needs to be collected, and what do you want to do with the dust once it's collected. And based on that, chances are it will generate more questions as far as explosive and things like that. But that's the beginning of the information that we'll need to help you design a system. Next is our portable cartridge filtration system. This is a very simple system as well. You see it's on 4 casters. It has a blower, it has a cartridge, and it has a drawer for clean out. And it has a port in the back where you can induce pneumatic air and blow it through the cartridge to do the clean out to get rid of the particulate. The particulate falls in the drawer and then you clean out the drawer. And then on the top you can either get a 7-foot or a 10-foot arm. So basically these are used for maybe maintenance facilities where they do spot welding, or maybe construction sites where you want a portable system that you're able to take from site to site. But basically, it has a electrical retractable reel inside. You plug it into a standard outlet. So you wheel it in place, you plug it in, the welder positions his arm, and now it'll maintain that position and he'll have his hands free to do his welding. When he's done, he unplugs it, the cord retracts, and he moves to the next welding application. You can also get it with HEPA filters if you're working in a clean room or a hospital. And you can get it with a combination filter, which would be HEPA and carbon if we're also trying to eliminate odor. Next, we have our downdraft tables. Now, the downdraft table is basically a workbench that's designed to capture the exhaust, bring it down, whether you're soldering or welding, send it through the cartridge system, and if it's clean enough, it'll be expelled right out the back. And if it's not clean enough, then it'll be conveyed through ductwork to maybe a scrubber or a dust collector at some other point in the application. Now this is kind of a bragging page for us because this is a ergonomically designed downdraft table. note that there's a hydraulic pedal, and that pedal allows you to raise or lower the height of the table so that depending on the height of the operator, they're never working above or below their comfort level. Now, we just did a big application for Caterpillar. We designed all of the downdraft tables, all of the booths, and then we tied it, our mother company, Crawford, tied it all in to a Donaldson dust collector. So this is a great application, works flawlessly, and we have a very happy customer. Now, these are our fans. Notice the fans on the left are Cook utility set fans. We use Cook often. They're a great organization. They do a great job. But there are other good manufacturers as well, like Greenhack and Twin Cities. So truthfully for us, some of our reps are Greenhack reps, some of them are Cook reps, some of them are Twin City or Penberry. What we need is a good quality fan that will meet the design criteria of the application. And as long as that is met, it doesn't make a difference to us, truthfully, what fan is utilized. Now, the smaller fans, those are our D-Series fans. We make them right here in Rock Island. They're casted locally. They're assembled at our facility. They're aluminum casted, so they're spark resistant by nature. We can also, if it's an explosive application, we can take the standard motor off and put an explosion-proof motor on there. They come from 0.5 horsepower up to 3 horsepower, so they're perfect for direct mount jobs, so whether you're mounting it directly on a hose reel or a welding arm, or they're very nice if you have smaller projects because, again, it goes up to 3 horsepower. They work great. They're inexpensive. It's a good quality product. Next is our hoses. The 1000 and 2000 series hose is our metal hose, and it's either galvanized or stainless steel. That used to be very popular with the in-ground system because it's so rigid it would go in and out very nicely. The problem with that is that if it got run over, it would have to be replaced. So currently most people use our 3000 series hose or our no-crush hose for the in-ground application because, again, you have a little bit of friction so it doesn't go in and out as easy as the metal hose. It still goes on in and out very easily, but if you run it over, it will regain its shape. It will not need to be replaced. The 4000 series and the 5000 series hose we've already spoken about. The 6000 series hose is a lightweight, flame retardant, spark resistant hose that we use on our welding arms. And then the 7000 series hose is an incremental hose. It can go from 350 degrees incrementally all the way up to 2010 degrees. Now that's very important because there are applications out there that you need that type of a temperature range on. It could be for regen systems on the newer diesel engines. If you're going to do that inside, you're going to need this type of a product. It could be for dynamometers where you're really seeing some high RPM on big engines that's going to create that type of a heat. What I would like to point out is this: the higher temperature rating you need, the more costly that hose becomes. So that when you get to the 2010 degree hose, it is very costly. But what we try and do to overcome that is we'll take a look at the application, knowing that we're inducing ambient air. At some point that temperature is going to dissipate. And as it begins to dissipate, we'll do a combination hose. So if we determine that it starts to dissipate at the 10-foot mark or 15-foot mark, at that point, we'll do a combination hose where the first part of that hose is the 2010, and maybe the second is down to 1,000 degrees, or maybe it's all the way down to our 4000 series hose. And what that does is allow us to handle the application and still be cost effective. Next is our vertical stacks. This is a custom job that we did for a couple of different applications, but in particular it was Fort Stewart in Georgia and Fort Lee in Virginia, where they're working on the Abrams M1 tank. Now an Abrams M1 tank has a small turbine engine, so it's like a small jet engine. And there isn't a set of louvers that you can just attach a tailpipe adapter to. Basically, we created a box that fits over the louvers. If you look in the middle picture to the right, you'll see Eric Swanson with this box in his hands, and that box fits over the louvers, and then each tank has its own bay. Each bay has its own hose system. So as the tank is pulled in and started, the box fits over the adapter, and the exhaust, it's the high velocity of the exhaust as it comes through the adapter into the hose and then makes its way into the stack. And actually there's a drafting hole at the bottom of the stack just to help with the drafting effect. That exhaust is contained, captured, and dispersed to the outside without the use of a fan. So a very nice engineering trick, an excellent system. We get great reviews, and again, it's one of the places that separates us from our competitors. And then another is, we talked about it earlier, but the XL hose reel. We have several of these at the Fort Lee project, but we also have them in Guam and throughout different areas of the United States and in Afghanistan, and I believe we have some in Canada as well. That's the XL Series hose reel. The gentleman, if you look at that picture, the gentleman behind there is about 6'4", 240 pounds. So it gives you some scale as to how big those hose reels are. But that's the hose reel that can handle 65 feet of 18-inch diameter hose wrapped completely around the hose drum. Next, we do a lot of work with the military. So we're very proud of the work that we do with the military. Again, we have them all over the United States. We have them in Afghanistan. I think we have some in Iraq. I know we just did some in Guam. We also have some in the military bases in Canada. So we appreciate the opportunity to work with our military and very proud of the work that we do there. This is kind of a bragging page. Again, a lot of customization work, so you can see custom canopy hoods or slotted fume hoods. The bottom picture on the left is actually an adapter for a snowmobile. You can see some custom dust collection. The middle picture there is a slotted fume hood with side skirts and a workbench. So the quality of the work that we can do and our fabrication and customization capabilities really helps to separate us from our competitors, and we encourage you to send that type of a product to us. So if you run across something you're not sure where to get it, let us look at it, let us quote it for you. We're happy to do it. This is our website. We've worked very hard to make this website easy to navigate, easy to find what you're looking for. The product videos are on there, submittal information is on there, contact information is on there, case studies. I encourage you to look at the case studies. But the bottom line is we know that the easier we make it for you to utilize our equipment, the more likely you are to do that. And once you've experienced the Monoxivent quality product and the Monoxivent customer service, we believe that you'll be a customer for life. So that's our goal, is to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to make it very easy for you to utilize us. Here we have the Monoxivent FRP product offering, and under FRP we have either underduct or corrosion composites. For the underduct, you can see it can be applied in the ground or above the ground. It's a fiberglass reinforced plastic with a specific resin makeup. You can get it insulated. So in this particular picture, you can see we have a hard ID shell and a hard OD shell, and we have a urethane insulation in between the two. And this again points out the difference between us and some of our competitors. Some of our competitors would, with their insulated duct, they take their duct and they wrap it in an insulated blanket. And what happens with that is it can become disheveled during the install process. But with ours, that urethane is safely tucked in between the hard ID and the hard OD shell. It is not going to become disheveled. Some of the places where you may see the underduct, again, in ground or above ground. Some of the benefits or advantage of underduct, the ease of use. The majority of the field joints can be done at the factory, which gives you the best quality field joints. It's corrosion resistant, it's watertight, and because of the smooth ID, the air efficiency is much better. Material integrity, testing, and versatility is all that information is available to you on the FRP website. Here's an installation photo. You can see that, in fact, it does not have to be encased in concrete. Different shapes available. Round is the least expensive. There's additional costs for other shapes. Different diameters, different wall thicknesses available. Different lengths, fittings, single wall or double wall. Now, as far as colors go, you can give us your RAL number. If you're putting this above ground, certainly in ground, who cares what color it is, but above ground, maybe you're doing an area by a swimming pool at a fancy hotel in Las Vegas, and they chlorinate that pool, and that chlorinated air can damage standard duct product, and maybe they don't want to use a duct socks or anything like that. So in that case, color would matter to you. The way we do it is we use a gel coat, so you would supply your RAL number, and the gel coat can be applied in the factory as the finished process, and then we would also send you some gel coat to be applied on any field joints that you had to do in the field. All of the information as far as low smoke and all of that is available to you on the website. We encourage you to take a look at the website, specifications, code, all of that is available there. These are some recently completed jobs. This list is always in progress because this is a very large growth area for Monoxivent. The guys in the FRP division are doing a great job. We're going to continue to add to that list. This is the green build. We belong to green build. There's all types of information available on the website about that. And then last is the corrosion composite. Again, this is a resin-based product that can be, in this particular case, it's a hybrid, or can be a hybrid, where you can tweak the recipe of the resin depending on the corrosive nature that it's going to be placed in. So you would use this type of a product in wastewater treatment facilities, chemical manufacturing, refineries, things like that. Here's a list of the products that can be made with the corrosion composites. You can see the control hoods, dampers, stack liners. This is an electrostatic precipitator. That gives you an idea of some of the projects that we can do. This is at the Des Moines Wastewater Treatment Facility. You see the box scrubber, the curb cover. This is at the Rock Island Arsenal. They're replacing those stacks. And this is a water wheel at the Kansas City Water Facility. Now this is some of the ways to do a field joint. There's many different ways. All that information plus instructions and videos are available to you on the FRP website. That is designed to take the fear factor away from the mechanicals, because sometimes when you're looking at a project, if you're not sure how to do it, you just add money to it. And in our case, our goal is to make it as simple as possible to educate the mechanicals so that there is no fear factor and they can quote it accordingly, because for the most part, the material costs for an FRP are going to be higher, but the overall labor costs are going to be less, and that really makes us competitive in most applications. The drawings will come to you in SolidWorks. All the field joints will be pointed out in the drawings. And here's all the contact information. Note that the new website is available to you, but you can reach Underduct and Corrosion Composites through their new website, or you can go through the standard Monoxivent website. Again, we thank you for your time. Please feel free to contact us with any questions.